Alright, good afternoon. Welcome to the Film Academy Technical Director presentations. The Technical Director course is a 2.5-year postgraduate course for students with a preliminary diploma in computer science or similar. The deadline for the course has been extended until May 15th. There's no tuition fee. Foreign students are welcome to apply. English proficiency, however, is required. If you have questions about the course, please come and speak to me after the presentations. The first 2 smart questions will also get a free DVD and a pin, so be prepared to pick your questions twice. What does a TD do? At Film Academy, they mostly support the animation and visual effects projects. They engage in interactive media and games and also in the Institute's research and development effort. So please welcome the Technical Director students of Film Academy.
Okay, hi, my name is Michael. I studied computer science in Koblenz and then started with the TD program at Film Academy in the final year. In the last year I did rigging, shading and rendering mainly for 2 animation projects and a bit of particles and shader development. I will start with my rigging project. That's Wedding Cake, an animated movie as a diploma project of animation students. And I was responsible for rigging 2 of the characters there. These are figures sitting on a wedding cake, and they will come to life and start living and fighting. There are quite a few characters in this movie, so I decided to choose an auto rig, in this case an advanced skeleton auto rigger, to set up the main skeleton for the characters. And for the facial animation, we used bench shapes and additional manual controls in the face with a bit of squash and scratch deformation as a last layer. That's how the face controls look like. So this panel controls the bench shapes together in one first phase of the character's facial animation, and the second layer is the manual controls on his face. Those were the 2 main characters, and there were a few more characters in all of the other characters, those 5 you can see here. This is the first test when they come to life. Yes, it works. And after that project, oh no, there was one more slide. Because the animation students started animating too early, I had to write a script to match the old animation with the new compatible rigs, because the positions and naming had changed a bit. And some of the operators were a bit slow, so there were options for the animators to disable muscle deformers or anything to have fast feedback when animating. And not all animators are sitting in the Institute of Animation, so they can't use our plugins and scripts environment. So I wrote a tool to export one scene you have opened in Maya for the animators, with a folder containing all resources they need for this shot, and a little batch script to set up the environment on their machine and to undo it, so they can work from home or from anywhere and send us the animation scene. The next project is Harald. He's a wrestler who wants to be a gardener, but his mother doesn't allow him to do that. I was responsible for shading and rendering. It's animated in Maya, but I wanted to do the rendering in Softimage, so the first thing I had to do was to build a pipeline to transfer all the animated scenes to Softimage. What I had was a bunch of Maya files containing the characters, props and sets, and for the animated scenes, of course, they have a start and end, a list of preferences with animation and material and camera settings, so this all had to be exported somehow. What I did is, with the first script, I transferred missing, or the reference model had been updated, so I could transfer it again. The next step was exporting the animated shots without all the controllers and rigs. So those were first the scene file contains the in and out frame and a list of references that pass to the original file and a few more data. The camera is exported in FMX format because you can store the stereo rig for the camera with all the animation, and of course all the animation caches for each character, for each crop, and for the set. So those are stored in Alembic caches for each shot, and in Softimage I could import those, in this case a character for example, first the geometry and the material. The script will automatically create shaded trees for each geometry in this file and assign them to the correct parts of the model. And here I had some lights already in the scene, so a quick rendering with the Arnold renderer shows how it looks now. I think they already have some tweaking on the skin, but there would continue with the specular highlights and the surface scattering, things like that. And for each geometry part, there is an operator on the with the relative path to the animation cache. And when I import this reference model to an animation scene, it will find this path, which could be changed and updated for all contained geometry, and will apply the animation. This should be the next. This is how I set up a shot. I parse this XML file with the scene info, so I import all the reference models, they find their caches, and get the camera, and then the animated scene in Softimage, so the transfer is complete. So the next step would be lighting the scene, and with Arnold renderer and Softimage, it's quite nice integrated, so once the geometry and the shaders are cached in the memory, the plugin will only update all changes I make, and it's very interactive. I can move the camera, the lights, the characters, and tweak the settings until it looks good. Set up all the render passes and send it out to the render farm. These are the passes this is the minimum set of passes I have for each shot. Just the direct indirect illumination, the surface scattering, a few selection passes, just what you need to do compositing. That's a very early test of animation. I also wrote a few shaders. One is a tangent space conversion for vector displacement, so you can use it on deformed geometry. And that's interesting for sculpted models if you want to use them in animation. Then for the UV scenes of the normal mapping shader, I changed a bit in the code to include the tangent spaces on the fly when you need them, and sRGB support for image files to correct camera workflow. The model shader was more or less a test, and I played with the PTEX format to render these images, but it's not working for some kinds of wishes yet. The next step is crowd simulation, very basic, just a few characters teaming around. I can give them color variation for each of them because they are particles, instance in geometry, and they're on the cycle with a different timing offset, and can work in a direction or start cheering if I want. I think ICE3 is a growing blind, but this has nothing to do with the animation project. But it's also an ICE3, and you can do some parameters go in that direction. And if you take several of them in a group, you will apply the ICE3 screen. Next was a forest of trees, and this is also similar to the vision in the last slide. So if you take any of them, it looks like nice woods, and that concludes my presentation.
Right. My name is Chris. I got a completely different background than Michael. I studied digital media with a focus on games and animation, and I graduated with a bachelor there. I'm going to talk about visual effects from zombie series, also crowds. I developed the Houdini, and it's particle effects for an animated short. And then I developed the Maya C++ in plugin. So the first project will be Viva Berlin. Viva Berlin is a zombie series, like I said. It was produced for the web. So we have 5 short episodes. And it is a zombie series, so this is a serious warning. When there are any kids in here, I must ask them to leave. But yeah, for no kids, it should be okay. Actually. So we got a lot of blood in there, and my task was the blood. So I came up with a workflow starting in wheel flow, doing the particle simulation and the mesh creation, and afterwards import all the meshes into Maya and render it out. So the task was to come up with realistic blood that also looks cool. So I need to figure out something, and the first setup we were happy with was a sphere where I emit particles in with high internal pressure. And when pressure is pretty high, then I just take away the plane and get nice shapes. But it was a little bit too slow for some shots, so we came up with this cylinder setup where I emit into the cylinder and move the cylinder while emitting. So we have these nice shapes. All in all, we got 55 different CG blood shots. So we got really all different kinds of shots. Sniper shots, gun shots, headshots, torso shots, you name it, we got it. And so I built a library for Maya, where the artist can just work in the shot and pick the blood type he needs for his specific shot. So he can choose another headshot if he likes, and just needs to place the camera right, and everything works good. Because I already built a shader in Mental Ray, and all the light setups were done with HDR images I took on the set, and so the rendering was not really fancy. And yeah, now we'll have a look on the final shots. So remember the warning, it's a little bit bloody. It was fun, actually. Alright, a completely different topic. Last year I was at Framestore doing a summer internship, and there I started developing a crowd system in Houdini. Afterwards I continued in development, and now it's in pretty good state actually. So here are some features that a crowd system supports, but I will show you a video that shows this more in detail. So, all starts with the pathfinding. So you see the red dots are agents that don't collide with obstacles. All the dots are agents for sure. So that's the pathfinding approach. No agents collide, and all red agents go over the surface. Afterwards there will be instanced animation, or mocap data is also working now. There is some support for flocking behaviors when you need birds or fish or something. And there's also an automated mapping of animation depending on the speed of the agents. So faster agent gets a running circle, for example, and there's also an automatic blending when an agent speeds up or down. You have target objects, or you can even paint target areas if you like to. And the last step is to bind geometry on the mocap data, and this is solved with capture regions in Houdini. So it is working now, and it will be used in a diploma project this summer, but I still want to develop some things, so I want to implement a state machine for every agent and I want to implement a level of detail control depending on the camera, so that agents further away from the camera have less polygons. Another project I worked on shortly was Sheep. Sheep is a 3D animated short, a diploma project on the Film Academy. I was responsible for a few particle shots, mainly wool shots from the sheeps. Everything was done in Houdini, except one shot was done in use of the marsh ice. And yeah, there's not really much more what I can tell, so let's have a look on the final shots. So let's fly wool and sawdust, and this is a wool rain that needs to interact with the sheep in this case, and also interact with the sticks when they fall down. This wool coming up is just something the director wants. Director driven. And my last topic is a Maya plugin. I've won a scholarship with this project. It's called the Karl Steinbuch Scholarship. It's going to be, or it's already in C++ Maya plugin, and it aims for on-set visualization. So that supervisors or directors or DOPs on set can combine the camera image in real time with 3D content. Means when there should be a character afterwards in the post-production, then you can just load the camera image into Maya and see the character together with the camera image, and then you can maybe make better decisions on set. It's already running now, so I can show you the actual state. First you load plugin in, and then there is this plane. It's a Simply Maya project where a Simply Maya object, you can scale it, translate it, rotate it, whatever you want. I capture the camera image with OpenCV and then create my own OpenGL plane and display it in this Maya proxy locator class using the Maya C++ API. You see here the frames per second, so it's running with in real time, even with geometry. So it's a sheep again. So that's the actual state, but I want to develop it even further, so that it could also work with moving cameras. So I want to implement a trackerless marking system. I want to implement keying, so that there could be a live key from green screen, for example. And there's also a use case for animation, not only for visual effects productions. So that the animator can stand in front of the webcam, make a little move and capture it, and then just review it all the time in the viewport to use it as an animation reference. Yeah, that's my part.
Hi, I'm David. I'm an FX CD at the Film Academy. During the last time I worked on Natalis, which is a visual effects project. We've had a lot of motion capturing and visual capturing. My task was to do all the Houdini-FX. In the end, we had about 50 effect shots. Then I worked on Krake, which is something completely different. I rendered a 2D, 3D animation movie. And finally, I've worked on the trailer, FMX trailer for the next year. I made some Houdini-FX. Natalis consists of basically of two parts. The first part takes place in a rainforest. My task was to simulate some flies and particles, and also some volume effects just to bring life to the forest. And then there's the desert where the bad guy destroys all the nature I had to do some storm effects, rigid bodies, dissolving effects, and so on. And this is an overview of the rainforest shots. The volumes are just basic noise in Houdini and combined with a lot of compositing work. The swarm was defined by volume spheres, where I could place the flies and I could direct the appearance of the flies. The second part is the desert. This is an overview of the shots. It's a little bit more action. These were some heavy smoke simulations and dissolving effects here. The storm was basically done with a base particle simulation, which drives the smoke simulation. In the end, I have ended up with around 400 million voxels, which I have done in Houdini 12 with the beta version, which was a lot better than doing it with Houdini 11. The red parts of the simulation indicates which part of the ground gets activated and gets simulated, basically. And the simulation was done with a simpler geometry, just to avoid all the jittering and stuff. And after the simulation, I added some noise to get all the details around the edges of the bricks. So the final simulation looks something like this. And this is the dissolving effect of the arm. I stored the dissolving effect of the arm in a texture which looks like this. It's an animated alpha texture which we used in Maya to render the arm to create a dissolving effect. So even though I've simulated the stuff in Houdini, the dissolving is integrated with the figure which was rendered in Maya with Viva. Then I worked on Krake. It's a very stylized look, and it might sound crazy, but I used global illumination and subsurface scattering just to get a variation on the skin and to integrate the figures into the 2D plates. And I used Arnold because of the hype. I just wanted to check what the renderer can do. In my opinion, you get longer render times, but the parameters are more intuitive, so in the end I think it was faster than, for example, with Viva. And the Arnold ray tracing is made for animation, so you get less problems with the sampling and stuff. So here are some shots of the movie. It's a very simple look. I just wanted to do something different than the usual visual effects stuff. And finally, I've worked on some effects for the FMX trailer for the next year. The red color indicates the velocity of the animals. I projected that velocity onto the ground, and from that point, I've emitted some smoke. So you get all the smoke emitted by the twig, by the tails, and so on. And that's the final shot. We've worked on 4 different trailers for now. We will do some more. This is another shot. Basically, we've moved the ground instead of the animals, just to have more control over the simulation of the dust and the particles and so on. Yeah, and I think that's it for me.
Hi, my name is Nikola. About me, I've got a Bachelor of Science in Game Design. I have a heavy programming background, and my bachelor thesis was about light field memories. I've been using Houdini since version 8 and tend to use nothing else, so you can consider me a long-time user. I've been working on the project Wedding Cake for the last year, which has some pretty interesting requirements in terms of the look and the rendering the director wanted. So I took up the job and did some heavy R&D in these fields. Basically, the project should look flat shaded. It needs a lot of artistic control because the director is very picky. And we wanted to have rough edges which are consistent on the geometry. Also, very specified look with rim lights. So I basically started to automate the whole development process. The animation and the rigging was done in Maya. Shading, rendering is done in Houdini with micropolygon rendering, which is basically RenderMan, and the post-production will be done in Wuttke. So this is one of the frames or the concept art I got, how this should look and how I should approach that look. This is another one, so you may see the problem here that those two tend to be a little bit different, and well, we've got to figure out a way in the middle to make this project work. The flat shading basically consists of a simple ramp parameter which quantizes the luminance values. The textured look is just using hand-painted textures which blend between two different or potentially more color values. The important thing here is that the artist has full control, so I don't have to do much there, but the light behavior can tend to be a little bit complicated because it has to be controlled by ramps and is not controlled over the light values itself, so every shader by itself interprets the lights differently. The approach for the rough edges is a little bit more involved. Basically, I implemented two versions which both are not up to the job until now. One is the paper painting with polygons, which is basically subframe displacement. The other approach is splatting, which is something which I constructed out of two papers and tried to get it to work. The challenges here are temporal coherence, control over the density and the distribution of the rough edges, and control over the level of detail. Subframe displacement simply can be considered a motion blur technique. Basically, you subdivide the geometry up to a point where you have the look of the edges you want, and then on each subframe you basically displace the geometry based on a noise which is repeating itself. The problem here is that you have semi-transparent strokes which limit the artistic control, and the director also didn't like, which you can see here in this test rendering. Otherwise, it is more or less working if you like the look. The next approach was to set up a two-pass system, so you have more control over the lighting and the shading. The first pass basically does all that and generates a point cloud in which position and color is stored. And the second pass is used to distribute or scatter points over the geometry, load in the color values, deform the geometry so it fits the animation, and do a lookup in the UV space. So you can have consistent deformed geometry, and you can have also camera movements and stuff like that. The problem is that you not really have the control over the point distribution, also the density, and another problem is that the orientation of the points, the factor you should use, how to rotate the points so you can project sprites on that, is not that easy, because if you use normals, like for example camera projected normal, then you lose one dimension and they tend to rotate. To tackle the problem with the density, I implemented geometry-based occlusion and backface culling, so I can just generate really the points on the current frame which are already deformed, and then transform them into screen space, take the distance measurement and decide if those points should be there or not. This technique also introduces flickering, so I will show you some stuff which more shows the problems than the solutions. This is slowdown. You see that in places like here, this splatting already tends to work really good. The problem is that things like here, if you invert the normals, this completely goes away, and stuff like here, the density control only works to a specific point. If you've got too much points, then you cannot control it. The automated rim light rigs are basically just more hacking in Houdini to set up lights which know where the camera is and know on which part of the geometry they should look on. And they also are set up the way that if you set up the light rig, it calculates all the dependencies, how the shadows are generated, what parts should be illuminated by itself. This just shows basic setup of light rigs from an early stage with a shot and a camera test. I also took the time to automate the look development process, so I can basically at night set up the boundaries of parameters I want to test and let it render over the farm overnight and have the informations written into the frames. This is an example from the state we're in right now without any post done, which we get. And that's it for me so far. Thanks.
So, my name is Felix. I'm studying computer science and as we find out before, did my thesis work about generating dynamic wrinkles in real-time CG faces. And I'm a technical director, and we have 3 projects at the moment for the last half year. I want to start with Total AR. Total AR is the goal of Total AR is the playable prototype of the connection between real world and virtual world. And it's a diploma project from a fellow student of interactive media course. And if you want to see the result of it, you can visit it on the 2nd floor in Steinbeister. This is augmented reality as usual. You know, it's you have a marker on the table and you have your smartphone or something like that, and then you see a virtual object on the screen on the point of the tracking marker. This is total augmented reality. You have a fully integrated virtual object in the room, and you can probably interact with it. So how to get this? We had to build up a head-mounted display. There are some out there, but most of them are only for viewing videos, for example, when you're playing or something, because you have no real head-mounted display for augmented reality. So you have to build up the game logic, graphic quality is necessary, bring a video into the game, tracking and matching the real world and the CG scene, visual scene. So for that we took Blender. Why Blender? Blender is most of, or some of you may know Blender as a modeling and animating and software, but it has also a game engine built in, and it's great. You can change your models and textures and stuff, and only hit the P button and play with it. So it's great for prototyping, and that's how it looks like. No, it's node-based for not programmers, and also stripped to Python. So it was the perfect choice for this project. Then the next part is tracking. We choose the markerless tracking software called P10, and it's we transmitted the tracking data, the position of the camera, and the room coordinates of the track position in the room to Blender. So this point cloud you see on the right are the real points in the real room, and the quad is our virtual scene or virtual room. And this is a manual step. You have it only to do once to match these two, and then you have your real room and your virtual room aligned. So the next is video. Getting a video into the game. You can project it only on a plane, but then all virtual objects are in front of the plane. Looking like an overlay, like here. So it's not fully integrated. So I wrote a shader for that is working a little bit like the front projection in early days of visual effects. You always have the build model of your room because of collisions and other game stuff. So you can use this collision, this geometry to project your image on, and yeah, this looks like that. So all the geometry, all the blue area on the right is reflecting or is showing the video and all our materials. Like materials are. So this is the head-mount display we built up. It's built of two iToy cameras and ski glasses and the Vuzix video glass. We use two cameras because we have one fisheye lens for tracking and a second for a more natural view for the user. And this augmented reality is I got a fellowship for building up an on-set visualization, pre-visualization software to make set extensions on-set live. So it's using similar techniques. And there we have some other programs with cleaning and camera aligning to the tracking camera and the real camera and so on. So the next big project is 5 years. It's about Murat Kunatz, who's kept in prison for 5 years in Guantanamo. It's a full-range non-military. And I was on the set for set supervision and did some tracking. These are some pictures from taken on set. And yeah, you have to collect the data about cameras and HDR spheres and so on. And this is one of the shots. I did tracking on this shot. It was a bit difficult because of this wire, and so here has to be done a big set extension because in the background you see a tropical island and airfield, and so we had a problem with this razor wire on top of the fence. Was covering all the tropical island and the stuff behind, so it would be nearly impossible to key or to rotoscope this razor wire. So told the cameraman to pitch down the camera so that it's behind it's out of the frame. So then now first we move the frame up, and this is the first layout version of the set extension. And here's the final shot, and that's when I talk. Not the final shot, is the layout version. So thank you very much.
So these were the technical director presentations. Thank you very much. Are there any questions? We have plenty of time. No? Nobody has questions? You still have some DVDs to give away? Smart questions? No? Well then, thanks a lot. So Nico here tells me that he's at the booth of Film Academy tomorrow at 3 o'clock if anybody wants to come and ask questions about the course. There's also another presentation on Thursday at 11:30, same room. If you can't get enough, come back or tell anybody who might be interested. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah.